the education sector. Globally, education is considered as a fundamental human right, and that should be accorded to every single human being. Also, not too long ago, President Muhammadu Buhari said that the nation's education sector was seriously in bad shape that required serious concern and immediate attention. With an estimated 13.2 million children out of school, high illiteracy level, infrastructural deficit and decay, unqualified teachers, and inadequate instructional materials, to mention but a few of the challenges bedeviling our education sector. Where are we indeed going in terms of education in this country? Let's take this very short clip, and it's courtesy of Al Jazeera. When we take that, we'll come back and talk.
Patriotic songs ring out before the start of class at Adenkunle Anglican Primary School in Makoko, Lagos, Nigeria. It has one of the highest number of primary school students in Lagos, 1,059, but there are only 16 teachers, with an average of 66 students per class. The teacher-student ratio is just one of the problems facing the state government in delivering proper primary education to more than 500,000 students. Close to a quarter of Nigerian teachers lack adequate qualifications, and it's been difficult to attract Nigerians to the profession, as the salary can be as low as $133 per month. Infrastructure is also in trouble. A large number of Lagos State's more than 1,000 primary schools are dilapidated, lacking basic furniture, electricity and running water.
Okay, all right, it's a sad one. Mr. Durujayi, it's a humongous issue, the issue of education and the rot in that system. Where do we start from?
I believe we should go back to the basics. The founders of this nation agreed that we are basically different people. You know, maybe in terms of religion, in terms of orientation to life, etc., etc. And they settled for the regional system of governance. The West led education. You understand? A lot of people went to got free education. Everybody was competing. People that were out of school, we are pushing them into schools. All my life, I went to public schools. Now, public school is in state of disrepair. You see, they say when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? The call for restructuring is very, very important. We have to restructure this country for a lot of things to work. Nigeria is not competitive anymore. We are not. Everybody just wait for money from Abuja. We are not going to... How many states can pay salaries? Nigeria is practically a failed country. Are we going to... We can't go on like this. We cannot go on like this. And you hear the vice president telling us that Nigeria does not need restructuring. I don't know what's going on. I just don't know. If you don't go back to the basics and sit down and say, how do we administer this country again? Nothing will really work. Nothing.
Do you agree?
I agree to a large extent. But I believe that, you know, way back, when you talk about the early 80s, when people like us were in primary school, we had privilege of getting books from Jakode government. They gave us a lot of books, but people didn't plan ahead. That's one of the problems we have in this country, because the population explosion that later came. I can't compare the amount of people that went to school when we were in primary school, for instance,
to those that are in school right now.
School. But one of the problems we have in this country is we don't look ahead. In 2018, right now, I expect that there should be an office planning that by 2024, this is the way things will be. And again, I mentioned something earlier, and I've said it on this program before, that most of the time, we look at Lagos. When you go to some schools in Lagos, I know to a large extent that when Ashwaju was there, when Fashola was there, when everybody that is there now, at least they tried in their own way to repair some schools, build new schools like the Millennium schools and all of that. But still, we still need the support. The government cannot do it alone. The government cannot do it. The pressure on our schools, the pressure on schools in Lagos, for instance, you know, the population is so much. And I know that the government cannot do it alone.
When you say the government doing it alone, is the government even doing it at all? That's my question. Because if you take a look at it from the budgetary allocation, that's it. 10% of the budget, that's what goes to education. That is almost like a sin,
from the federal government, I mean.
And that's exactly what I'm now saying, because you said something.
See, I'm not a spokesman for any government, whatever. Yes. But I know that most of the time, we have to be realistic about certain things. When we are on this side, we always think, oh, the government is not doing anything, the government is not doing. I know that politics is a very lucrative venture. It's like a lucrative thing. Apart from, apart from the ones that are distracted, some people are working. There are some politicians when you sit with and you hear them talk, you know that, oh, this guy has something upstairs. I know, because we've met like one or two of them.
But how do we work and not see
anything?
The resultant effects? Does that
because if you're talking
to
about
work?
some
areas,
I'm not saying there's no perfect system anyway. I'm not saying the government, I'm not saying like the Lagos State government, for instance, is doing everything. I'm just saying to some extent.
Wait, if you recall, before the Prime Minister May came into office, what's the name of the Prime Minister? Cameron. It was asked when he took office, what are the 3 priorities of Britain? He said education, and education. What is the priority of Nigeria?
Corruption.
No, do you know, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Do you know what, that's what I wanted to ask Mr. Biodo, because he said we don't plan ahead. Is it we don't plan ahead or corruption? Because there must have been an allocation to those areas, and at the end of the day, someone sits on the money and nothing is done.
Nothing is seen.
Well, there's something wrong fundamentally and constitutionally. The law of Nigeria provides education for every child. Everybody has a right to education in Nigeria constitutionally. But is that a reflection of what we have now? You know, there is this problem, you know, socially, geographically, politically in Nigeria. You know, it has education, the poor educational system in Nigeria has stratified us. It has made us to know that some people are poor and some people are rich. We shouldn't be. You know, education in public schools should be the priority of government. And it should be the norm. It should be the standard. It should be the reference point. I went to public school, and I know when I was in that school, that nobody from private school will come and tell me. I didn't know what I know.
Private schools were around.
So there is a systemic stratification now in our educational system. You know, there are some areas that you cannot even find good schools around. That you now see somebody, you know, just put up some rules together, and then they call it private school.
And then,
you know, I served in the East, and I saw a lot of that. And as a youth corps, a youth corps member, I remember that we were the one posted to those schools in those remote areas to go and teach students. And those students are awarded school certificates.
they are called Otakara.
You can see how much stratification this imbalance in the education system has caused.
True.
So now, daily, we have our Oriental brothers, they come through Onitsha Bridge and come to Lagos to come and do what? Not to go to university, but to come and trade. And it's unfortunate in Nigeria, the moment you are able to speak English, you are educated. You know, that is the passport to being educated in Nigeria. That is your visa. The moment you can speak English, you know, no matter how bad your English is, the moment the communication in English becomes, it qualifies you to be called an educated person. You know, in my community where I live, I see many young people, young boys who are working as maids, as servants. You know, they're outside, you know, and they're from eastern part of Nigeria, south. They work as drivers, You know, people that ordinarily should have gone to school. You know, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria, you won't believe me, 20% of it affects graduates. And as a result, what kind of education system are we preaching? You know, who are the people that will leave? That is why everybody now say, why do you go to school? I want to get a good job. Are they getting the jobs?
No jobs.
And even those who got the job, are those who are educated, who claim they have graduated, you know, are they employable?
I'd like to talk about that.
Are they employable? Our training in the university does not involve entrepreneurship.
True.
There's nothing that talks about leadership. Everybody is all about rigorous academic system. Even at primary and secondary school, you know, most of our children, they are so talented. Some in music, some in drama. The teachers bog them down. Rigorous academics.
Exactly. Because we're only looking at one type of intelligence.
Yes.
Let me talk about.
Yes.
You see, education as per the quality of the teachers, the infrastructure on ground, etc., is one part of education. The other part is those who actually get to these schools, as Mr. Kupolu said, what are they being taught? Let's take a classic example of the film industry. The capital is Lagos. University of Lagos, LASU, they have Department of Theatre Arts. What impact has these departments had
On Nollywood.
on Nollywood? Almost nothing. If you take away the Igbo boys, those so-called Alaba boys that gave Nollywood its push, what will have become of Lagos? A theatre arts graduate leaves school and is at a loss when it comes to Nollywood. What are you teaching them? They are already handicapped. You understand? So something is wrong. The gap between academics and practice is too wide. It's too wide. You can tell me that in foreign countries like America, they have film schools and all that. We are not America. We are a third world country. We are a poor country. You understand? And therefore, we must rejig our educational sector so that those who are graduating are already ready for the work. We have to tweak our curriculum. We are not doing that. We just have doctors in papers.
Okay, all right, Mr. Femi. Now, I'm just going to take you a little bit 2 steps backwards. We're just going to do it that way. Now, let's talk about those schools that actually, a lot of primary schools, and you get to see them sitting on tires on the floor. Do you think they would actually want to further their education by force?
Let me tell you something. I'm a very, I'm a realist. It doesn't really matter
Where they sit.
No, more or less. If the place is safe, right, and there is no money, right, it doesn't really matter.
Can make do.
See, if you have good teachers, our fathers, what kind of schools did they go? Some of them learned under the tree. You understand? Some even did. Awolowo did correspondence.
No, but Mr. Femi, in this time and age.
You see, I believe that what you have, use it, right? I'm not happy about the infrastructural setup of our schools. It's a disgrace. But you see, what about those who are teaching them? From state to, we state told us that about 80% of their teachers are not qualified. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. I can vouch for Lagos. You understand? Lagos will get it right.
Maybe Lagos
will get it right.
Maybe Lagos have
because it's like
better qualified teachers.
They have.
But they still have the problem of overcrowding.
Yes.
The problem of overcrowding.
You know one thing now.
More than 100 students in one classroom. How is one teacher supposed to cope with that?
We need to understand the demography is increasing everywhere, and we need to revamp this infrastructure.
If we check our population, will it go a long way in helping a lot of things?
No.
We
are supposed to provide infrastructures according to
match up with the population,
which is not the case. You know, so we need to look at all of these together. You know, our syllables need to be looked into. They need to be more practical. You know, we should have, government should give licenses to schools of performing arts. People who can train you on dance skills, drumming, and so on. It's not all about Book.
Yes, now. Look at the computer
tools.
programming. Look at computer programming. There are a lot of people are doing. Look at the tech.
How many hours?
Look at the
did
startups.
they-
Look at the startups that are
they
making
know
big
to
money.
use to-
Yeah.
We have
to teach
emergency.
computer.
We have emergency millionaires in
ICT.
Nigeria now. You will know. We
Yeah.
have a lot of emergency millionaires. Look at. I don't want to mention brands now, but a lot of people who are doing tech stuff and providing services right on your phone, on your system, and a lot of people are making money. Most of them train for this thing within how many months? When I trained on computer program and all that, there was somebody that studied computer science. They cannot even do 10% of what somebody like me learned in 6 months.
So why are we sinking billions
many years
into
ago,
tertiary
many years
education?
ago, Nili left
That's
paid
corruption.
employment
Yeah.
to start
his
his
blog.
gist
Yeah.
blog.
Yeah.
Though he at the point in time he relaxed and he lost it, you know. But if he had continued, he would have been a great guy today.
Of course, yeah.
Better than he is. You know, that is what women should work at.
So are we going to
Ensuring
say
that-
our kids stop going to school?
No,
they will
That-
go to school.
Look, our definition of school is
It has to change.
It has to change.
See,
a lot of people are not employable.
I'm
Yeah.
saying, why should we have somebody in the academics as vice chancellor of the university? Why? Now, why? Put an entrepreneur, a graduate of course, as vice chancellor. You have deputy vice chancellor who can take care of academics.
That's
The
debatable.
person,
That's debatable. You know? That's debatable.
the person that is vice chancellor can move this institution towards practical things in every department.
Also, we go
What we are
outside
doing,
for the next 3 years. And for that,
what is our graduates? What kind of graduates are they
everything,
pushing out?
everything boils down to leadership role in Nigeria. Like he said before now, when you talk about politics in Nigeria, anything that is wrong with all of us in this country has to do with politics. When politics is too lucrative,
Yeah, there's
a
too
lot of people
much
will decide when somebody
interference in
becomes the
everything.
governor of a state and is looking for he wants to make about 10 billion, he wants to build like 50 houses, it's because the structure allowed for such a thing.
Yes.
If the structure has been blocked, certain things has been blocked in some places.
There's a
When
limit
you
to
are-
how
look
you
at
can
look
have
at Trump. When
to-
Trump became the
you know,
president of America, what according to Forbes estimation of his worth,
Yeah.
at the point he dropped. It can never happen in Nigeria. If anybody
It will
becomes, some people argue at the point. Somebody was arguing.
And you become
one
a
of our
president?
neighbors, my father's, one of our neighbors in those days, a father to me. The man said, "We're arguing about Abiola, Babangida." The man said, Abiola is richer than all of them. I said, "No." I said, "The president of Nigeria at that time, Babangida, that there's no way somebody who sits on top of the whole petroleum or everything." The constitution of Nigeria, 1999 constitution,
Makes that
makes the
person
president
so
a very
powerful.
powerful man. He
Very
employs
true.
ministers and all
Very
that.
true, yes.
Let's
I mean,
restructure.
Okay.
Go back to the regions.
Okay.
They can compete again. Let's
Negotiation. When
restructure.
you talk about restructuring,
Yes.
We
there will
have
be
to go.
negotiation.
We have to go. We'll
People
bring
have
this back another
people have
time.
to negotiate.
All right, bring this back. All right, Benjamin Danladi from Kaduna. You say I don't read your messages. Sorry, it's about time. And he says hi to Alero. Thank you for sending in your message. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Thank you, Mr. Bioduku Poluri.
Thank you so much,
Nii
Thank
Tabitha
you.
and Mr. Febidro Jai.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
making it happen today. Tomorrow at noon, join us again right here on this station for yet another edition of The Buzz. Have yourself a good day. Bye for now.
We didn't talk about